Welcome to video lecture on modeling examples. So here we will be looking into some of the modeling examples using Verilog HDL. So these are the topics that will be covered in this module. We will be starting with generic shift register, then we have state machine modeling, and then interacting state machines, and then modeling a Moore FSM and modeling a Mealy FSM. Okay, so let us start with generic shift register. So a generic serial in serial out shift register can be modeled using for loop with an always statement. So we know what is a shift register, right? So it will be used either for left shift or right shift of the contents what is there in it, right? So here we can model generic shift register using Verilog code by making use of for loop and an always statement. Okay, and then the number of registers is specified as a parameter so that it can be modified when generic shift register is instantiated in other design. So we know what is shift register, but why it is called as generic shift register here means we are going to model a general shift register whose size is not fixed. Okay, so it can be instantiated in any design as per the size requirements in that design. Yes, so we are not going to restrict the size of the shift register, but how we are going to do that means we are going to specify a parameter which is going to specify the size of the shift register, and this parameter value can be changed when we are going to instantiate a model. So we know that a parameter value will be constant throughout that module, but that value can be changed when we are going to instantiate that module in any other design. Correct? So that is why it is called as generic shift register here. Done? So now if we look into the code for generic shift register, the first is what? We will be starting with the keyword module. Then we have the module name shift reg. Okay, and then we have the parameters D, clock and Z. And next part of the code is going to define or declare these parameters. So D and clock will be the inputs and then Z will be the output. And then we have a parameter num underscore reg which is equal to 6. So here the size of the shift register will be specified by the parameter num underscore reg and it is equal to 6. So it is a 6-bit shift register. Done. And then we have one more variable q which is of type vector, and if we look into the size of that vector, it is 1:num underscore reg. So that is 1:6. So we should recall that the size of the vector can be declared in two ways. So either from high to low or from low to high. If it is high to low, then it is little endian representation, and if it is low to high, then it is big endian representation. Okay, and one more thing is that in either of this representation, either it could be little endian or big endian. So the number which is on the left side of the bracket which is going to specify the size of the vector is going to be the MSB in this vector. Okay, so here what we should note is the bit 1 will be the MSB and bit 6 will be the LSB. Okay, so Q is a variable of type vector of size 6 bits, wherein bit 1 will be the MSB and bit 6 will be the LSB. So if you want to visualize this, so it is going to look this way. So there will be 6 bits and this will be Q1 and this will be Q of 6 or Q of num underscore reg. So this will be our MSB bit 1 and this will be our LSB. Done. Next we are going to consider one more variable p of type integer. Okay, and the other part of the code says that always at negative edge of the clock. So always at negative edge of the clock means we are going to synchronize the next statements with respect to negative edge of the clock. Yes, so we are going to make the following statements to be sensitive with negative edge of the clock. So we are having a for loop wherein for p is equal to 1, p less than num reg, p is equal to p plus 1. So for p is equal to 1, p less than 6, p is equal to p plus 1. Okay, so p is going to vary from 1 to 6 in increment of 1. So what happens? Q of P plus 1 will be equal to Q of P. What will be the first iteration of for loop? Q of 1 plus 1 will be equal to Q of 1. So Q of 2 will be equal to Q of 1. Correct? So there will be a right shift. So when there is a right shift from Q of 1 to Q of 2, then Q of 1 will be empty. Q of 1 will be getting a bit value from input D. Right? So that is the first iteration of for loop. Next again, the same thing. There will be one more right shift, one more right shift, one more right shift, then one more right shift. So at the end of the for loop, what happens? Z will be equal to Q of numReg. That is, Z will be equal to Q of 6. So our output Z is going to take the value which is present at the bit Q of 6. So this is the generic shift register module, right? So now we can instantiate this generic shift register with variable size. So how we shall see, if we consider a example of a dummy module with parameters data, clock, ZA, ZB, ZC, and all these parameters are of type wire. So when we consider first instantiation of this shift register, shift reg, instance name is SRA, and then it is simply instantiated. So it is also a 6-bit shift register. Okay, and next we shall consider one more instantiation. So here it is having #4. So which indicates that we are instantiating a generic shift register of size 4. So the parameter numReg is going to take a value equal to 4. So there is one more instantiation with #10. So this indicates that the parameter numReg is going to take the value of 10. So it will be a 10-bit shift register end module. Okay, so this is about generic shift register. Hope you have understood this concept, right? So the next concept is state machine modeling. So what is state machine modeling? So state machine modeling is nothing but modeling our designs based on certain states and the state transitions between the states. Yes, so a state machine can usually be modeled using a case statement in a process. So what it indicates is that the state machines can be modeled using Verilog code by making use of case statements. Okay, and then the state information will be stored in the signal, and the multiple branches of the case statement is going to control the behavior of each state. Done. So we can consider an example here. So it is of multiplication process. So let us model multiplication process as a state machine. Okay. So for that, let us consider multiplication of 11011 with 10101. So let 11011 be multiplicand and 10101 be multiplier. So multiplier is going to be multiplied with multiplicand. Correct? So now what is the process that we carry out? So each bit of multiplier will be multiplied with the multiplicand, whole of multiplicand, right? So here the first bit here is LSB of multiplier is 1. So that will be multiplied with all bits of multiplicand. So we are going to get 11011. Yes. Then we are going to multiply with next bit of multiplier, that is 0. So we are going to get all 5 bits as 0. Similarly, next bit of multiplier is 1. So if we multiply, we are going to get 11011. Then again when we multiply with 0, and finally again we are going to multiply with 1. The thing is that we are going to, in order to find the final product, we need to add all these bits, right? So before that, let us pad them with zeros. So here there is one bit empty at the left hand side. So let me pad with 1 0, here with 2 zeros, here with 3 zeros, and here with 4 zeros. Okay. So next, if we add these bits, so we will be getting as what? 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, right? So this is the multiplication process what we carry out. Correct. So how to model this using a state machine? So what is the number of states that are required? In order to decide that, we should understand this process. So what is that we have performed here? So initially it will be multiplication will not start. So once it starts, what are the things that is going to take place? So one thing is, we are going to multiply one bit of multiplier with all the bits of multiplicand, right? So there is something required to keep count of number of bits of multiplier that we multiply with multiplicand. That is one thing we should take a note. And then we are going to have something called accumulator, which is going to always hold the final result of multiplication or final product of multiplication. So here if you consider stage wise, so first stage is what? We are going to multiply first bit of multiplier with multiplicand. So what will be the output or what will be the contents of accumulator? So initially it will be 0 and we multiply this multiplier bit with multiplicand. So if this multiplier bit is 1, then what happens? We are going to add this multiplicand with the accumulator. So initially accumulator will be 0. So here what happens? We are going to add 11011. We have multiplied with 1 and we have got this 11011. So this will be added with accumulator content 0. So at the stage 1, what will be the accumulator content? It will be 11011. Next, when it is 0, if we are multiplying the 0 bit with the multiplicand, we get 0 back. So there is no necessity of addition. Correct? So accumulator content remains as 11011. And when we multiply again with the next bit of multiplier, it is 1. So we are going to get what? 111100. But what is this? Actually it is a left shifted version of multiplicand, right? So it is shifted 2 times to left and then we have got this. Yes, similarly when you perform multiplication with 0, no need of addition. When you perform again multiplication with 1, so what we are going to perform here, it is shifted version, 4 times shifted version or 4 times left shifted version of multiplicand that will be added with accumulator, so that we are going to get the final result as this. Correct? So this is the process. So what would be the number of stages that is required, or number of states that is required for modeling this? Means 3 states. So first is what? Initial state, and one more state is for performing addition, and one more state is for performing shift operation, right? So that is what we should know, and there should be some variable to keep the count of number of bits of multipliers that are multiplied with multiplicand. So now let us see how to model this using a state machine model. So let us consider a state diagram for multiplier. So first it will be having 3 states: initial state, add state and shift state. Okay. So now when reset is equal to 1, so reset is equal to 1, it will be in the initial state only. The accumulator content and the counter content count will be initiated. Next, when reset goes low, multiplication will start, and there will be a state transition from initiate to add state. In the add state, it is going to check whether the multiplier bit which is pointed by the count is equal to 1, and if it is 1, then only the multiplicand will be added to accumulate content. Okay, otherwise it will not be added. After that, there will be a state transition to next state, that is shift state. Here the multiplicand will be left shifted once, and then the count value will be incremented by 1. Okay, and after this, in the shift state, so it is going to check whether the count is equal to 16. Once the count is incremented by 1, it is going to check whether the count value is 16. If it is 16, then it is going back to initial state. So here we are going to perform multiplication of 16-bit. A 16-bit multiplier will be multiplied with 16-bit of multiplicand. So it is going to check whether the variable count, which is going to indicate or specify the number of bits of multiplier, whether it is equal to 16. If yes, then it is going back to initial stage. If it is not equal to 16, then what happens is there will be a state transition back to add state, and the process gets repeats unless the count is equal to 16. Yes? So this is with respect to state machine diagram for modeling multiplication process as a state machine. So now let us understand how we can model this using Verilog code, that is using case statements. Okay. So first is what? Module multiply will be the name of the module. Then we have the parameters MPLR, MCND, clock, reset, done and ACC. So MPLR will be the variable indicating multiplier and MCND is for variable which is going to indicate multiplicand. Then we have clock, reset, done is the signal and ACC is accumulator content. Okay, it will be variable which is going to point to accumulator content. Next part is what? We need to define or declare these parameters. So we have inputs MPLR, MCND, that is multiplier and multiplicand, both of vectors of size 16-bit each. Then we have two inputs clock and reset. Then the output signals are done, which is of type reg, and then accumulator which is of size 32-bit. So Y means when we are performing multiplication of two numbers of size 16-bit each, the maximum possible product will be of size 32-bit. Okay, so for that purpose we are going to consider accumulator to be of size 32-bit, and then we have parameters with initiate, that is INIT, add and shift. So these are the states of our state machine which will be specified by parameter. So this will be the first state, that is why it is equal to 0. Then this is equal to 1 and this is equal to 2. Okay. In order to specify or in order to keep track of this state, we require a variable called mpy underscore state. So that is multiplication state. So we are having a register multiplication state of size 2 bits and then one more register multiplicand state of size 2 bits. Okay. And next we are going to initialize multiplication state is equal to INIT. So that will be the first state. So the initial state is INIT, initiate. Then let us consider parallelly the state diagram for multiplier. So till now what we have done, there are three states, INIT, add and shift. Then we shall have the always statement, always at negative edge of the clock we need to begin the process, and then we are going to consider a variable count of type integer. So then we are having a case statement which is sensitive with respect to multiplication state. The case is sensitive with respect to multiplication state. Okay, and then we are considering one more variable done. So what is initiate state is if reset is equal to 1. So if reset means if reset is equal to 1, then it remains in the same state, that is initial state. Yes. Then else if it is not equal to 1, that is if reset is not equal to 1, that is reset is equal to 0, then the accumulator, that is ACC, will be equal to 0 and count will be equal to 0 and there will be a state transition to add state. Okay, and done signal will be 0. Next, there is a temporary variable MCND underscore temp, that is temporary multiplicand. So it is 32-bit wide. Out of that 32 bits, first 16 bits, that is LSB 16 bits 0 to 15 will be equal to our multiplicand. So we know that we are performing multiplication between multiplier and multiplicand, both of which are 16 bit each. So the first 16 bit of temporary multiplicand, which is of 32 bit size, will be equal to 16 bits that are equal to our multiplicand what we have taken, and the remaining 16 bits, that is from 16 to 31 bit positions, will be equal to 0. Okay. Then what happens in the add statements, if MPLR of count, that is if the bit which is pointed by the count in the multiplier is equal to 1, then accumulator is equal to accumulator plus temporary multiplicand. So the contents of accumulator will get added with multiplicand when multiplier bit which is pointed by the count is equal to 1. Okay, and there will be a state transition from add to shift, right? That is with respect to add state. Next, we shall see what happens in shift state. So here, multiplicand underscore temp, that is temporary multiplicand, is equal to concatenation of 31 bits of multiplicand with 1 bit 0. So we are getting a new bit at LSB which is equal to 0, and we are discarding the MSB bit of temporary multiplicand. So it is nothing but left shift of multiplicand is taking place here, right? And then we are going to increment the count by 1. Then the next thing is, if the count is equal to 16, then there will be a state transition from shift to initiate back to the first stage. Okay, and the done signal will be equal to 1, which indicates that multiplication has completed. If it is not equal to 16, then there will be a state transition to add state, and the process repeats between the add state and shift state unless the count is equal to 16. Once the count is equal to 16, then that will be the end of the module. Okay. So now, if we summarize this state machine model for multiplication process, what happens? The register MPY underscore state, so the 2-bit register which we have defined, that is going to hold the state of the model. Okay, so if MPY underscore state is equal to 0, it indicates that it is a initiate state. If it is equal to 1, that is 0 1, then it is going to indicate that it is a add state. And if it is 2, that is 1 0, then it is going to indicate that it is shift state, like that, right? And then initially the model will be in initial state, and then it remains in this state unless the reset is true, that is reset is equal to 1. When the reset is false, then the accumulator is clear and the counter will be resetted, and the multiplicand is loaded into temporary variable, that is temporary multiplicand, correct? And then there will be advancement from one state to another state, that is initial state to add state, right? And then when the model is in add state, then the temporary multiplicand is added to accumulator content only if the bit of the multiplier which is pointed by the counter count variable is equal to 1. And then there will be a state transition from add state to shift state. In shift state, the multiplicand will be left shifted once and the counter will be incremented by 1. And then it is going to check after incrementation of count whether the count has reached to 16. If it is equal to 16, then there will be a state transition back to first stage, that is initial stage. If the count is not equal to 16, then there will be state transition back to add state. Again, it is going to check whether the multiplier bit which is pointed by count is equal to 1. If it is equal to 1, then the accumulator content will be added with temporary multiplicand. If it is not equal to 1, then there will be a state transition back to shift. So there will be a repetition. So what we can say is that if the counter value is less than 16, the model repeats itself going through states add and shift until the counter value becomes 16. Okay. And one more thing what we should note here is the state transitions occurs. So whether it could be state transition from initial state to add state or add state to shift state, all these state transitions occur at every negative edge clock. Okay. So the state transitions are synchronized with the negative edge of the clock. Why? Because we have used the control signal always at negative edge of the clock. Okay. So we should take care of these things with respect to state machine modeling. So that completes the second topic with respect to this module, that is state machine modeling. So let me stop here for this video. We shall see the remaining topics in the next video. So till then, try to understand and analyze the topics that have been covered in this video. Okay. So let us meet in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.